Hello there. How are you? Good to see you. It's good to have you joining us after such a long time. It's been a while. My name is Chanza Sikazwe, and I'm from Chanza Sikazwe Advocates. We are legal practitioners, commissioners for oaths and notaries as well, litigators, arbitrators, you name it. And the idea around this particular video is to discuss one or two issues so that we can exchange law sense. Now, one of the things I'd like to talk about today is something that generally in this country we've been following. The death of our late President Edgar Lungu happened almost a year ago. And as we speak, this matter is still before the courts of law in South Africa. And because of the time that has passed, it's possible for us to really forget what has been happening up to this particular point. And so in this video, I'm going to try and give you a brief expose of what transpired in the High Court in South Africa, the Gauteng High Court of South Africa in Pretoria, where this matter initially started from. Yes, I am aware that it is now before the Supreme Court of Appeal, but before we can discuss that, let's deal with what was at the High Court level, and then we can subsequently talk about what happened in the Supreme Court of Appeal. So let's go for it. The parties, the people that were involved in this case, the government of the Republic of Zambia, remember, sued Esther Lungu, Bertha Lungu, Tassila Lungu, Chieso Lungu, Daliso Lungu, Charles Piri, Makebi Zulu, and the Two Mountains, which was the funeral parlor where the body of the late president was being kept. So ECL died on 5th of June 2025, and on 24th of June 2025, government of the Republic of Zambia initiated a court action in the Gauteng Division, Pretoria High Court, with an urgent application for the funeral parlor to keep and to preserve the corpse of former President Lungu, pending the finalization of the application seeking to repatriate the body of Edgar Lungu. Now, on the 25th of June 2025, the government of the Republic of Zambia and the family agreed for the funeral and burial of the late president to be suspended pending the determination of the main application. The government of the Republic of Zambia sought a declaratory order, that is an order to determine the rights of the parties, the rights of the government on the one hand, and the rights of the family concerning the repatriation and burial and funeral of late President Lungu. So the facts of the case are that late President Lungu was president, of course, from January of 2015 until August of 2021. The late president initially received the customary benefits accorded to former heads of state under the Zambian Benefits of Former Presidents Act 1993. Now, on the 28th of October 2023, when he announced his return to active politics, his benefits were withdrawn. Now, all these facts, I must say, are coming from the judgment of the High Court of Gauteng in Pretoria. So these are some of the aspects that the judgment brought out. So I want to just discuss one or two of the facts that were relevant in this, and I will read some of this so that I don't miss out anything. The late President Lungu arrived in South Africa on January 19, 2025 for medical treatment. The president unfortunately passed away on 5th June 2025. It is common cause that as a Zambian citizen, the late President Lungu had his permanent residence as Zambia. Following the announcement of the passing of the late president, the current president of Zambia, President Hakainde Hichilema, on the 6th of June 2025, dispatched a delegation of senior government officials led by Zambian Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mulambo Haimbe State Council, to engage the family and to discuss the logistics for the repatriation of the mortal remains of the late president to Zambia. Mr. Makebi Zulu acted as spokesperson for the family during these engagements. The delegation was informed that the family wanted to conduct a postmortem on 9th June 2025 that was supposed to be undertaken by a private pathologist from abroad. In addition, that the family was looking at departing Johannesburg, South Africa for Lusaka, Zambia on Wednesday, 11th June 2025 aboard a private charter plane which the family had already arranged. Also, the family had planned to transport the body to Ndola, where the late President Lungu was born, Kitwe, where he lived during his formative years, and Petauke, where he hailed from. This was intended to provide the opportunity to the late president's supporters and friends to pay their last respects before proceeding to Lusaka. In addition, that Zambians living in South Africa had also requested the family to allow for a memorial service in his honor, since most of them would not be able to travel to Zambia for the funeral, a request that had been considered. Minister Haimbe thereafter conveyed to the family the applicants, that is the government's envisaged logistical arrangements, that the applicant, the government, had, following the privileges due to a former head of state when they passed on, declared 7 days of national mourning beginning the date of death. The applicant would provide a military aircraft to transport the late president's mortal remains and mourners back to Zambia at the earliest possible date, preferably the 7th or 8th June 2025, arrange full military honors at send-off and arrival in Lusaka. The government committed to purchasing a lockable casket and to paying for all associated expenses relating to the funeral. It was conveyed that a burial place would be prepared at Embassy Park, which is the designated burial site for all deceased Zambian presidents. The secretary to the Zambian cabinet issued a press statement on June 7, 2025, in which he informed the Zambian public that the president of Zambia has accorded a state funeral to the late President Lungu, whose body will arrive in Zambia on Wednesday, 11 June 2025. There were further meetings that followed. A second delegation to negotiate with the family was led by Honorable Mr. Eno Kamindele, former Vice President of Zambia, accompanied by Mr. Leslie Mbula, former Secretary to the Cabinet and former Zambian High Commissioner to South Africa. Also included was Mr. Patrick Kangwa, Secretary to the Cabinet. On 10th June 2025 at City Lodge, Waterfalls, the delegation met with representatives of the family. Mr. Lungu, Mr. Zulu, Makebi Zulu, again acted as the family's spokesperson. From this meeting, it was agreed that the family would purchase their preferred casket that was lockable. The family would use a chartered aircraft, while government officials would use Zambia Air Force aircraft that was on the ground for any eventualities. Mr. Makebi Zulu, in a separate televised briefing, confirmed the agreement, firstly, that the body of the late President Lungu shall be transported together with the family from Lanseria Airport in South Africa to Zambia on Wednesday, 18th June 2025, using a private charter made available to the family by well-wishers. Secondly, following the arrival and receipt of the body by family members in Lusaka, full military honors will be conducted at the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport, after which the body shall be taken to the funeral house in Chifwema, where it will lie in state. Thirdly, that the body of the former president will be taken to Mulungushi International Conference Center on Thursday, 19th June, Friday, 20th June, and Saturday, 21st June, to enable members of the public to pay their last respects from 09 hours to 16 hours, after which it shall be returned on all days to the funeral house in Chifwema to lie in state. In addition, to avoid the confusion that has been ongoing relating to the Patriotic Front Party, the Honorable Given Lubinga was given the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Patriotic Front Party. On 18th June 2025, and shortly before the body of the late president was due to be transported to the Lanseria Airport for repatriation, the family informed that the body of the late president would not be arriving at Lanseria Airport, that the late president's body would remain at the mortuary, and that the family had decided that the late president would be buried in South Africa in a private funeral. So what I've just discussed here are the facts as captured by the court. it's important that we keep in mind all the things that were happening. And these were the facts that the High Court had taken note of in Pretoria, in that Gauteng High Court. So the court also determined that there were two issues that were pertinent for determination. Number one, the issue for determination was there an agreement between the parties? That is, was there an agreement between the government of the Republic of Zambia and the family members as regards the repatriation and the burial of the former late president? Issue number two, what law should be applied to this arrangement? Is it Zambian law or South African law in terms of the right to burial? Who has the right to burial between the government of the Republic of Zambia and the family, that is the widow and other members of the family? And which law is applicable in this particular case? So, we all know what the court decided. Let me take you now to the orders of the court, just to give you a brief of what the High Court ordered. The orders are as follows. It is ordered that the applicant is entitled, that is, the government of the Republic of Zambia is entitled to repatriate the body of the late President Edgar Lungu for a state funeral and burial thereafter in Embassy Park, Lusaka, Republic of Zambia. That the funeral parlor is authorized and ordered upon service of the court order by the sheriff of this court to immediately surrender the body of the late President Lungu to a representative or representatives of the Zambian High Commission to enable the government to repatriate the body to Zambia for the purposes stated in paragraph that we have just read. That the family are authorized to be present when the orders or the paragraphs that we just read are executed, and an aide-de-camp, the late president's physician, and two family members may accompany the coffin containing the body of the late President Lungu during the repatriation. So this is the meat of what was decided by the High Court in Pretoria, Gauteng, and the family was dissatisfied with what the court had decided. And so it attempted to appeal against that particular judgment. And in so doing, it approached the same High Court in Pretoria, requesting it for permission in order for it to appeal. That application was denied. Thereafter, the family proceeded to the Constitutional Court and made an application before the Constitutional Court. That application was denied. They went now to the Supreme Court of Appeal and applied before the Supreme Court of Appeal and found solace in the Supreme Court of Appeal because the Supreme Court of Appeal decided to give permission to the family for them to appeal, but also gave them a deadline. They were to file all their court documents by February of 2026. It appeared that the family either did not comply with that particular order, or the lawyers did not file all the documents on time. And so the government of the Republic of Zambia on the 22nd of April 2026 sought to enforce the original order and original judgment, the judgment that we've just been talking about. And by so doing, the corpse of the late president was handed over into the custody of the Zambian government through the Zambian High Commission or their representatives. However, before the repatriation could happen, it appeared that the family went back to the Supreme Court of Appeal and obtained an order stopping the government from repatriating the body and ordering them to surrender the body back to the funeral parlor until the appeal is heard. I am aware that the appeal was actually heard before the Supreme Court of Appeal, and hopefully in subsequent videos we can discuss that particular aspect. But I want you to understand that the judgment that we're discussing was the basis upon which the appeal was happening. So it's important for you to keep that in mind as we look at what happened in the Supreme Court of Appeal in our next video. What do you think? What is your view about how this matter was decided by the High Court? And how would you have handled it if you were given the chance to? I'd like to hear your views, and let's discuss in the comments. My name is Chanza Sikazwe. God bless. See you next time.